Okay, I believe this is the first time in channel history that I get to say live, good morning. I
Yeah.
think it's the first time. I've had videos that have launched in the morning, but I've never gone live in the morning. So yeah, as their buddy D Wayne says, good morning all. Quick introductions here. This man over here, you guys know already, is the mayor, aka Steve. Steve, how you doing this morning?
I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. If I had a tail, it'd be bushy right now.
Okay.
My beard's a little bushy.
If you don't know the mayor, that sums him up perfectly right there. And then it's awesome. Super. I've been excited for this. I think it's going to be a really cool, different twist to the channel. Down here is my buddy. You want to go by Nicholas? Nick, what do you want to go by, buddy?
Call me Nick. I go by Nicholas in the courtroom and when I'm in the newspaper, things like that. But as you know, that's just hanging out, Nick, please. And real quick, Steve, I'm actually kind of bummed out that I actually know your name now. All right. I was just going to roll with the mayor for forever.
And you do that. You please do. And if you want a first name, you want to call me Snake. You want to call me, Super Mayor or Chili Chill Mill. Whatever is gonna build me up in your mind is I'm fine with it.
No, that's beautiful. I mean, I don't know what the etiquette is here. So again, I appreciate you guys having me. Dan, it's gonna be awesome. So let's do this.
Absolutely. And I rarely call him Steve, right? That would be like calling my wife Sam. Like I don't really do that, So it's my version of babe for him is Mayor. Like, hey, Mayor. So it's that's his Snake. Wow.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because I said something to my wife yesterday, and her immediate reaction was, "Did you just use my name?"
Yeah.
No, it's babe unless there's a slip up.
Yeah. Especially with the quarantine brain. So that's for sure. So we got a lot to go over this morning, guys. First thing is I want to kind of show off something real quick for Nick. Nick is an attorney, aka a lawyer. Hey, first question for you. What is the difference between the term attorney and lawyer?
Zero.
Okay.
Zero. I mean, it really just kind of depends on how pretentious you want to be. Somebody, there are lawyers that will say, somebody will call them a lawyer and they'll say, well, no, I'm actually an attorney. And that's crap. They're the exact same thing. It's basically equivalent to the, supper and dinner. It's the same thing.
Okay. Interesting. Well, cool. And I had to show off, so I got a hat on here, but I also have an oil. So this hat I thought was fitting. It's a company that is called Beard Justice, and most of their scent names are like courtroom or law themed. And this is my collaboration with them. And this one is called, because I'm the trusted teacher, of course, this is called Detention Hearing.
I like that.
Yeah, so they've got some nice cologne-inspired scents there. I'll have to get you some in there. They have like hung jury and acquittal and all this stuff as their scent names.
No, that's beautiful.
Cool. So first question. Now the beard, this is the longest I have seen it. Are you rocking it longer because of the quarantine?
You know what? I am. I figured that, I have no idea when we're going to be back in court or what's going to happen with that. So I'm going to run with this for as long as I can. And it's funny because, I've been growing a beard. My wife's been on me for years to grow a beard. So it's finally, I'm not sure how this is going to play in court. I'm not sure that this is the most, professional look.
Yeah.
But never, ever once has it been a problem. Never once has somebody said in court, Nick, what are you doing? You need to shave, something like that. So, the idea of you can't be a professional and have a beard, it's just nonsense. It's nonsense. Yeah.
And that's one of the goals of my channel is to really push that because of the stereotype and the stigma that comes with a beard. Being a teacher, that was a big thing. The mayor has seen this firsthand. The beard culture at my school has completely shifted with my channel. It went from kind of being like our principal taking like subtle shots like, hey, is the barbershop closed? The razors are gone, to now like, will you please speak at career day about your beard and your channel? And majority, at least 75% of the males at our school now have beards, when before it was probably under 10%. So I love that. I love that with lawyers. I have a buddy named Michael Phelps, He is in an injury and wrongful death attorney. And he has a beard channel. He grows a big, long beard, but he had a huge case, over $1 million case. And he shaved his beard for that case because it was going to be like several weeks long. And he looked terrible. He looked like a mole rat for a while. He would grow the beard back. So it's interesting.
I know you got a question up, Dan, but I'm going to jump ahead in line because I'm the mayor and I can do that. For Nick, do you have people so it sounds like you do litigation in the courtroom. Do you have people you work with that would give you that feedback, or how would you, if the beard's not playing well, or if something you're doing is not playing well, how is there anybody besides you to kind of gauge that and give you feedback?
No, that's yes, that's kind of a tough question. I mean, I wouldn't say that I necessarily have, a mentor or anything like that, around the courthouse. And, as far as relationships with other attorneys go, I mean, my relationships with the majority of attorneys are all, great, fantastic. But I mean, as far as, making sure that I look all right, leaving the house in the morning and all that kind of stuff, that's something that, like all of us, where I'm going to rely on my wife.
Right.
And I mean, generally, if I think I look good and she says that I don't look good, she's the one that's always right. On that. So as far as, beards in court and all that kind of stuff, like I said, I mean, everything is done by feel, and it's like anything else. You put a shirt on in the morning, you feel good wearing that. Same way with the beard. If you feel good with it, just rock it, And it's one of those things to where, if you walk out of the house feeling like King Kong, you're going to do a heck of a lot better with, in whatever arena you're playing in. Right.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. And guys, we are honored by the appearance of Cedric, the owner of Beard Justice LLC. So the company I was just telling you about, Nick, he's in here. Said we'll have to connect you guys. And a big thing, guys, in the description, I have put a link to Nick's channel. Nick has taken this quarantine time to be able to launch his attorney, Nicholas Robinson, on YouTube. So check that channel out. He's already got up several videos.
Yeah. So, and let me preface that. I mean, nobody should have any high expectations as far as that goes. I started doing a couple of videos, answering some questions on Instagram, got a couple of few-minute long videos, and then said, you know what, I'm going to take your advice. And again, my wife's advice, throw up some things on YouTube, and we'll just see what happens. So, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. But yeah, any questions anybody has, let me know.
Yeah. And we were one of those situations where we kind of had seen each other around forever. Our kids were in similar circles. Our friends were in similar circles. But the first time we actually met was at a kid's birthday party. And from that moment, the first conversations we had, I was telling Nick, dude, you need to get on YouTube. This is gold. Like literally, I was like, your lawyer videos would crush it on YouTube. And ever since then, we've hung out. He's been to the studio. Consider him a good buddy. I've been telling him, you need to get on YouTube, man. You need to get on YouTube.
Before we get too far, and one of my questions for you guys is, how do you get over the fear or anxiety of putting yourself out there?
You take that one because it's kind of closer and newer to you.
Yeah, it is. I go back. We started doing a weekly video last summer as I started growing the beard. And if you go back and watch, I started out kind of treating it like I felt like I was being interviewed by the news. So I was like stiff and just kind of worried about it and thinking about constantly calculating in my head, if there's 50 people watching that, what does that look like as far as a classroom size? So a lot, I have to say, it's just doing things like this, getting out there, and just eventually you're you get over yourself, and you have something to say, you have a good time with it, and it kind of fades into the background as far as the nervousness and anxiousness, and it becomes something that you look forward to and want to do. That's not for everybody, but I think you'd be good at it. I can already tell.
Yeah, no, I agree with the mayor on everything. For one, some people just don't have it in them. You do. I mean, there's no shock there, Nick. And then for two, just practice. That's random you asked that. I went and watched my first video last night because I was trying to come up with a special trivia question for that giveaway last night. Yeah. And I couldn't find one, but I watched my introduction video. all the info was true. Everything I said was spot on, was accurate. But hi guys, my name's Dan. It was not me. It wasn't my personality at all. So you just got to figure out, especially when you record a video, you're talking to a dead camera. There's nothing else other than you and the camera. You get no feedback. You get no emojis, no like laugh or head nods. So it's like you got to have a conversation mode and like interpret how people are going to take it. It's an interesting skill to learn, but like I kind of told you, you get addicted to it. It's a weird natural high.
No, that's interesting. And that reminds me, the first time I ever stood in front of a jury. And I mean, I was in my practice for about, I did a murder case. All right. I was about 6 months into my practice criminal defense. And I stood up in front of the jury and just immediately not literally, but just figuratively threw up all over myself. And at first, it was like I was 2 sentences in, and the prosecutor objects during my opening statement, which etiquette you're not supposed to do. So it's like, oh my God, what's happening here?
You went full bunny rabbit, mom spaghetti.
No, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So, but I mean, I'm sure it's like anything else. You know, you get in there, you get your reps, you take your swings, and you know, everything improves, everything gets better. So.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And guys, and first, out of respect for your schedule, Nick, do you have any timeline restrictions? Any time you got to get out of here by?
No, I'm good. So it's a weird situation right now with the quarantine. Courts are sort of open, but nothing's really happening in court unless it's an absolute emergency. The courts are not bringing anybody in.
Okay.
My secretary and I are both working by remote, so she has our office phone transferred to her cell phone. So I'm good. I mean, I'll hang out all day if you guys want.
Cool.
I got the phone and walk away, but yeah, I'm good. Let's do this.
Mayor, what about you? Do you have any time restraints this morning?
The first lady, Mrs. Mayor, isn't even rolled out yet of bed. So we got Fortnite watching the boys in the basement. Yeah, we're not great there. It's technically spring break, people. So relax. Okay?
Right.
But I went down and mingled with the animals downstairs. That's Owen and Luke, 10 years old and 7. And Betsy's chilling with Max, the dog. And so I think I'm good for a while.
Okay, cool. Because and maybe this will be a future stream with Nick, but I even when he started talking about his first time in front of a jury, that brought up my murder story in my head and my first time in front of a jury. And who knows, another time. I know the mayor's heard that. Nick, did I tell you? I think I told you that story, right?
I love that story. I love it. I'm ready
to come out at some time,
whatever.
Yeah. So that could be a good one in there. But guys, we have stories from Nick today. We got questions from the mayor and myself for Nick, and then open for you guys. We have one from my buddy Dwayne, aka D Wayne. He says, "Does the court have rules on beards? Is there anything on rules?"
No, no rules from the courts on beards. There's certainly nothing in the actual court rules themselves. There are some judges. To backtrack on, what going into court with the beard and all that kind of stuff. There was one time where I was in front of this old nasty judge who is now retired, and this judge says to me, kind of in a snide way, "So I see you're growing a beard, Mr. Robinson," and just kind of left it at that. But outside of that, no formal rules on beards or anything like that. And one of the things that the court, if there was any rules, they would actually have to be very careful with restrictions, because that might kind of infringe on people's religious freedoms, because there are people that grow beards for religious reasons. And if the court was to say, you got to limit your beard, you can't have a beard or whatever, the court, state, whoever might get into hot water for doing that. So long answer to say, no, there are no formal rules on beards.
Okay. And to piggyback off that, Holly, the owner of Whiskey and Hardtack, great beard company, she said some law firms probably have dress code, appearance codes to mandate no beard. Is that true?
Yes, there are. I think that used to be the case much more than it is now. Talking to my friends, talking to my peers that are in bigger law firms, it's not a problem at all anymore. I mean, I'm not certain, and Dan, this is not a shot on your beard because I love your beard, but I'm not certain that that type of beard would fly. But I think that for the most part, law firms are going away from what they would say before of no beard, you got to be clean cut and all that kind of stuff. So no problem with that.
Makes sense. A guy named Chris said, Dan, I heard a few streams ago that you are from Whitehall, Michigan. I'm also from Whitehall, living in Muskegon. Very cool. So yeah, I was born in Grand Rapids. I lived there for a couple years. I got into some trouble at school. Literally was slanging. My dad worked for Frito-Lay. I was slanging his expired chips on recess. So that didn't work out too well. And then we moved to Whitehall, Michigan. I lived there until my 8th grade year. I finished 8th grade, and then I moved to Grand Blanc, and I've been here ever since. Went to high school here, coached here, teach, homeowner here. Mayor, you want to give a quick rundown where you've lived and raised and born in the streets, all that?
All right. Dad was an engineer back in the 70s and 80s. So my oldest brother's was born in Minnesota. My dad's from Pennsylvania. My mom's from Indiana. My brother and I were born in New York. And here we are. We ended up getting I started kindergarten right when we moved to Michigan. And I've lived here ever since. Just in this area. I went to high school, and then I went to Western for my bachelor's, Michigan State for my master's. And my wife's from the other side of the mitten. I don't know if we're here. Then she was over here in Grand Rapids. She went to Forest Hill Central. And we met down here, not in the middle. But we met in Kalamazoo at Western.
All right. Nick, what about you? What's your life story?
My life story from Holly, Michigan originally. For Holly High, we do or die, I guess they say. So grew up in Holly, went to undergrad at Grand Valley State University. From there, went to law school down at Ohio Northern University. Small little school down there, one of those D3 schools. Nothing in that town other than a bar and a post office, but fantastic. So now back here in Genesee County, Michigan. And as far as my exact location, I not that I don't want to give it to you guys, but some of the people that I represent, I just rather keep where I live.
Absolutely.
Right.
So my practice, so I'm a criminal defense attorney. My office is in Flint, Michigan. And as far as my practice goes, I am strictly a criminal defense attorney. I'm not one of those attorneys that dabbles in wills, dabbles in divorces, and I do this on the side. This is all that I do. And I take cases from, little traffic tickets all the way up to first-degree murder and everything in between. So as far as that type of stuff goes, there's nothing I haven't seen, nothing I haven't done, nothing that we haven't had a lot of success with. That's kind of it. That's a little quick thumbnail sketch for me.
Nice. And I think a lot of people think of Flint, Michigan, right? And they think the water crisis and the crime. Nick's building that he works in is downright beautiful, like beautiful building. Any quick thoughts on Flint, Michigan for the people?
Yeah, no, and that's a great question, because you talk to somebody from out of the area, or you even talk to people from the area, and they say, Flint, but Flint has come a long ways. It's come a long ways. And just in the 7-8 years that I've been practicing downtown Flint, I mean, the place is just completely different. All right. Everything down there, they're doing a great job with. Everything down there is very safe to go downtown, very safe to hang out. A lot of entertainment down there, a lot of bars, a lot of restaurants. It's everything about it is just fantastic.
Awesome.
But don't get me wrong, Flint's like any city. There are problems. Everybody's heard about the Flint water crisis, and whatever you've heard about it, how bad it is, it's 100% true. 100% true. You probably actually haven't even heard how bad it truly is. But I think that Flint's starting to come through that, and I think Flint's going to be okay. Assuming that anywhere in the world is going to be okay today. So we'll see.
Right. Absolutely. So growing the beard, are you doing anything to take care of this new longer beard?
I got like a bar of Dial soap somewhere down, in my shower. But outside of that, I need you guys to coach me up on the do's and don'ts of this situation.
All right. We're gonna have to do some kind of safe drop. Leave it in the mailbox. I got you. We gotta get you some.
Put it on the porch, and we'll take care of it. We've got guys for that.
Perfect.
Yep. I had a drop. The mayor was literally playing basketball yesterday with his son. I went in, rolled up like a creepy drug dealer, and I dropped some beard supply in his newspaper mailbox attached to his house. Gave him a little wave, and then I left.
And I just I pretend I just winked at him, on the side.
No, I understand. I just had to do a cash pickup from a client at not a great location a couple of days ago, so I get it.
Yeah. So a couple of things here for some companies. Whiskey and Hardtack says, I have to say Nick's hair is on point. Dial soap, dude. No.
So, look, I mean, it's not something that I'm proud of. It's just the way that it goes.
Yeah. So Holly makes great soap for your beard, great soap for your body, and amazing beard products. So we're going to make this happen. And then Beard Justice, the company we're talking about that has all the lawyer themed names, he says, does he wear cologne?
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. Hang on a second. Hey, Kara, what's that cologne that you just got me? The missus says she has no idea, but the answer is yes, I do wear.
Okay, so all of his are cologne inspired, and like I said, with you being a lawyer and having a YouTube channel, we got to get you some Beard Justice. It's all cologne inspired scents. They're amazing, and it's a good thick oil, which will be perfect for your shorter beard. So
what's the drawback on Dial? Let's educate a little bit. Why do I want to just do that?
Yeah, so the main thing with Dial is it's going to dehydrate your skin and your hair. It's very, very harsh, which is for your body. Your body can handle that, and you got to get all that funk and gunk off. But your face, especially the skin underneath your beard, is much more sensitive and has much more like bigger pore openings. And essentially, you have this thing called sebum oil that's produced all over your body, and you can get rid of it on your body, but you need it on your head hair and your face. And that Dial soap will just, it'll give you a beard drift. It'll give you the itch. Do you have beard itch at all?
No, not too bad. I mean, I think I'm past the point to where my beard is, not catching on my pillow at night, which is always my biggest concern. It seems like as long as I can fight through that, no problem. But let me ask you this. So my wife, she always says, don't use that soap on your face, use whatever it is that I have in there. As far as using the products that she might have in there compared to the products that we're talking about right now, tell me why I should be going that route and invest in what you guys are dealing with there.
Yeah, so you're going to use all that stuff she's talking about on the facial part where your beard is not. But the same thing for underneath your skin. It's going to be dialed in for the products. It has to do with like the pH level. So the pH level of your skin and beard hair is different than where your face and your head hair is. And those products are designed to balance the pH of the other spots. So we want to make sure you have a good balance underneath your beard, and it's going to help it thrive. It's going to stay healthy. It won't develop like beard itch or beard dandruff that'll happen over time, and it just promotes like good growing, good health, and you'll feel a difference. It'll feel soft, it'll feel luscious, and we got all sorts of stuff. And I remember the first time the mayor started really using products, and then the first time he used beard butter at night. And Mayor, do you remember that experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna just add to Dan too, your the comedogenic scale and how your body reacts and how your skin reacts to things. You really do. So when you get into this, if you get for real, you start paying attention to the backside of all those products, and the pores are just open. They're just they're open to the world as those the hair is pushing out. So you got to be like with the Dial you're drying it out too much. With certain like what we have is carrier oils in the oils like sweet almond or argan or jojoba oil or whatever. Different ones are going to play differently with your skin type. So I remember the biggest thing was, here I was, this guy totally started out with no facial hair, had never grown a beard up until 40 years old. I remember, when I realized that even oil, just right in the beginning for the stubble and the itch, and you were talking about like on the pillow, like that feeling. Yep. That's all because of how like kind of on fire or how your follicles are like, why is there hair coming through here? Usually you take care of it. That's and that oil really soothed it. And that was a good start. And then for butter is when you just get a little bit of length, and that's almost like kind of like a condition, like it just softens and you're not so aware of that weirdness on the pillow or whenever people come in contact with it. My son's faces are super sensitive. And I, as I started with the oil, if I would get face to face with them and I go like this, their face would be like bright red for an hour or two. My wife can always tell.
Yep. No, every time, put my daughter to bed, give her a smooch on the cheek and she says, Dad, you got to shave.
Too funny. And Joe Wood says the next video, all those books in the back will be replaced with beard products.
Love that comment.
That was great. That's Hall of Fame. And we're fully international today. I saw a couple comments from the UK earlier. I think we had a buddy from India pop in, and then we got one right now from Malaysia.
Awesome.
Yeah, super cool here.
That's the neat thing about this.
Oh, okay. So I'm just, I had my setting here on private chat. I'm now looking at so I can actually see what's happening here.
There we go. I forgot you switched to the computer. So yeah, good.
Yeah, again, just trying to figure things out here. So
yeah, he just realized in there it wasn't just us and no one was saying anything.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It doesn't even matter how big or how deep the water is. You swim no matter where you're at, right?
There you go. Yep.
And I'll keep feeding them to you. Don't worry. But I think it's time for us, and we got several of these to get into your first beards in law stories. I think you have 2 or 3. Go ahead and hit us. Do you remember those stories?
Oh gosh, we talked about this before, and as we were getting started, I had a couple of notes that I jotted down.
Yeah.
I got one that's pretty good. I got one that's all right. But probably the most interesting one is I had this client. He's accused of some pretty major crime. What it was, no big deal. But prosecutor couldn't prove that it was actually him that did it. So there was a lineup that took place, and the lineup is pretty much what you see in the movies, where you got a whole rack of people that are standing next to each other, and then they either take a picture or they bring somebody in and say, that's the guy right there, number 7, or whatever it is. All right. So my guy, I'm talking to the guy before the lineup, and I'm telling him, or I'm talking to the guy the day before the lineup, telling him about what's about to happen. Because when you do these lineups, you have to bring in people that look substantially similar to whoever the suspect is. All right. So, for example, if they're accusing me of a crime and I'm in the lineup, they can't bring a whole bunch of bald guys and sit them right next to me. And, then they well, it's the guy with the hair. It's got to be. All right. So my guy, of course, has a beard, pretty substantial beard. Is probably somewhere right between you guys. All right. So this lineup is taking a minute because the police and the prosecutor's office are trying to round up as many people with decent beards as they could possibly find. And as you guys know, there's not a ton of beards walking around on the street. All right. So my guy shows up to the lineup the next day. He shaved his whole beard off, man. All right.
Oh no.
So and I laugh about this now. It was not funny at the time. So they, of course, they ID my guy, which bummer right there. But the real problem, we get back to court the day after that, and the prosecutor says, "Oh, by the way, Nick, I'm charging your guy with obstruction of justice for shaving his beard." It's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So had to deal with that charge, had to deal with the big one. But it's like, no, prosecutors, that's crap. You can't charge him with obstruction of justice. And they're like, well, we can. And, good luck with that charge. So fortunately, we were able to beat that back and work it all out. But it was interesting they tried to charge him with that.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
So he had a beard. He shaved it, right? Which seems like it should be a personal freedom. And that was obstruction of justice. And right, if we're looking at it, you get where they're coming from. I mean, you could infer that there was intention there, but that's interesting.
Especially if it was the day before, if he had.
Yeah, right, exactly. And I mean, my position was, look, he wasn't trying to disguise himself or whatever. He was simply grooming, which, whether that was a good argument or held water, I don't remember.
I like it. I like that.
But yeah, exactly. But I mean, when you see crazy charges like that, it's not all that uncommon because the prosecutor's office, they're going to go absolutely as hard on somebody as they possibly can, and they're going to charge them with as many things as they possibly can. And the reason that they do that is to try to use that leverage to avoid a trial and to try to get you to take a plea that you otherwise shouldn't take. So it's one of those things where you stand tall, you work the case hard, you take care of your guys, and you actually got to be a little bit fearless to do this job. As long as you do that, you guys are going to come out okay on the other side.
Yeah. Dwayne, and guys, if you have questions related to the story, the topic, fire them. Or if you have random attorney questions, Nick would love to give you his best shot. Dwayne has another great question to piggyback off that. Do people participate in lineups? Do they get paid?
No, generally no. Most of the time what you see is lineups will take place in jail. So the sheriff's department will just bring in a whole bunch of inmates that look similar. And that's convenient for them because a lot of times the guy that's in the lineup is wearing, the jail oranges or the jail blues or whatever. So everybody that's staying in there is going to be dressed the same too. So generally, people don't get paid to participate in lineups. There's not exactly a cottage industry of people standing around, raising their hand to get into a lineup.
What are you talking about? They get paid. They get room and board and meals.
You know what? That is true. That is true. That is true.
I did not know that. So kind of going off of that, we all know the experience of being a citizen to be the taxpayer and jury member, right? We all have received jury duty. Now, from your perspective, you get a lineup. And how does that work for you if you're on a case and you have the jury? We've all seen like the OJ documentary and weeding out jurors and stuff. How does that really go down? What's that look like? Or what are you able to say about that?
Okay. So the question is, how do you defend a lineup in front of a jury? Or how do you question in front of the jury, or how does it play in front of the jury? Well, let me just jump right into it. No matter how strong a case is or whatever the accusation is, there's always a defense. There's always a weakness in any case that you can exploit. Okay. So then the question becomes if you have somebody that's making an identification, whether it's through a lineup or whether they saw it on the street. All right. You get into a saying, well, are you sure you saw it? Was it dark out? Was it light that day? Was it late at night? Have you been drinking? Were you taking medication? Were you on prescription medication? Is your memory as strong as you believe it is? Did you get into a fight the day before and you had a concussion and you can't think right? And now you're saying that that's the guy, for example. So, identification is always one of the biggest issues in every single case.
Yeah.
Because generally, when you're talking about most cases in the criminal arena, the defenses are usually, it wasn't me, it was some other guy. That would actually be the Saudi defense, SODDI, some other dude did it. That's a true thing. Or self-defense or duress, somebody made me do this, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, interesting. And then to kind of go back to that same type of topic, one of my most bright students, truly, Austin, he says, what if there are no suspects in jail or prison that match the correct description? So is there a lineup? Is there ever a case where it's not prisoners?
Yeah, that's a good question. I like that question. It was a couple of years ago. I was sitting in court and lawyer comes up to me and he says, hey, look at this, slides me a picture. And they couldn't find enough bald guys in the jail. So what they did is they grabbed every single bald attorney in town, put them in oranges in the jail jumpsuit, and had them stand in the lineup.
Wow, they brought in attorneys. Wow.
Yeah, no, it was hilarious. The pictures it was just fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And then we got a two-part question here. Thomas says, got a question about the CARES Act payment. See if you know this answer here. Are these all cash advances on our taxes for next year?
Oh, man. I don't know. And nobody seems to know at this point.
I don't either.
As far as anything that's happening with the checks that are being sent out, anything that's happening with stimulus is for business. Nobody knows. Everything right now seems like the Wild West.
Yeah, right.
It seems, as far as businesses go, it just seems like a giant cash grab to get as much money as you can just to stay afloat, because there are a lot of businesses that are shutting up right now.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as that question goes, that's from Thomas. Thomas, That's an awesome question, and I wish I had an answer for you. And actually, what I'll tell you, Thomas, shoot me a message on Instagram. You can just find me at Attorney Nicholas Robinson. Shoot me a message on Instagram, and I will try to look it up and try to get a good answer for you, because if I don't know an answer to a legal question, it doesn't do me any good just to make stuff up. That doesn't help anybody. So leave me a message and I'll get back to you.
I'm the same way, right? I feel like at times I'm an attorney because my sister's one where if I know something, I'll argue to the death about it. I have no problem going toe to toe. But I also love saying I don't know, but I'll find the answer.
Yeah, if you don't know, then you don't know.
But yep. Dan learned early from his sister pretty early on, one of my old students, that to preface every statement or close every statement with, in my opinion. And I was telling him the other day, because we got into that the Tiger King. Every time what's his name is threatening Carol, he says, in my opinion.
Yeah.
and the other guys do it too. Like, they've all been coached, it looks like, a little bit on their documentary statements.
You guys know what panhandle water looks like?
Oh, no. I saw that. Yeah, like looking at the water in the picture, and he knew that it was the panhandle.
Oh, yeah.
Mexico water. That's nothing but
yeah.
Fantastic.
You're good.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And if there's anybody watching right now, I can't see where anybody's from. If anybody's from the panhandle and can describe to me the specifics of panhandle water, I would like to know.
The science teacher in me says that the water depending on where you put the light source, you can make all water look pretty much like whatever you want.
Okay.
Yeah. Holly says, as I understand, is a great opening for something. Yes. Well said.
Yes.
And I'll probably get into this more at some point. One of them when I can get into it a little bit more, but I have been on this channel been threatened to be sued 3 times, and one actually gone through with paperwork and all that stuff. And as I fall back on, my sister represented me, and it didn't go to court. It essentially was happened through paperwork. But essentially, the 2 things that are protected in court are your opinions and facts. And I'm always super careful to know which is which, and I never really cross that line. So that is
truth is always a defense. Always a defense.
Yep, always. Another great question here from Holly from Whiskey and Hardtack. She said, Nick, have you found the concept of flawed eyewitness to be true? As in, more time that passes, the more skewed their view of the event?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. The concept of flawed eyewitnesses is 100% true. And one of the things that a lot of defense attorneys do is try to slow down cases. Let cases drag out, let them go on for as long as they possibly can. And the reason for that is that the longer that a case goes on, the worse the evidence gets. The evidence gets old, the evidence gets stale, and the worse people's memory is. Okay, so the idea of flawed eyewitnesses, people not remembering things the right way, that's 100% correct. Because if we think about just ourselves right now, I mean, if I was to ask everybody in this room, what did you guys have for lunch yesterday? I'm certain that it's going to take everybody a second to think about it.
Yeah.
And I'm certain that there's going to be a handful of people that are just going to get that flat out wrong. Okay? So and then you take that on top of seeing usually a pretty intense situation where people aren't thinking straight, people are excited, people are afraid, people are hiding. Certainly people are going to see things the wrong way. So flawed eyewitness, absolutely, it's a thing. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, great answer.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I witnessed a car accident. It was an icy patch of highway once, and a guy was out changing a tire right at the end of that icy patch. Bad place to do it. And I watched a car slide into the man who was out of his car doing his tire, get hit by the car coming by. It slipped right into him. I watched it happen, and I couldn't tell what the car looked like. Like it was totally a blank. I didn't know which car had done it. I just knew that I was watching the guy. It's amazing how your brain just puts things in a fragmented memory.
Yeah,
exactly right. Fragmented memory, 100% true.
And I was on a murder trial. I was a witness, got subpoenaed. And from when it happened, we went to court 2 years later, and I told Nick about that story. And the prosecution was just trying to simply get me to say something that went against my police report. And it was all memory. And I had to many, many times say, I don't remember, because I truly didn't remember. It was 2 years ago.
And if anybody is a witness or anybody's involved in a case, if you do not remember something, just say that you don't remember. That is a heck of a lot better than either trying to remember it on the spot or trying to make something up or fill in the blanks. I don't remember makes for a lot more credible witness than a witness that's saying, let me think about it. I think it might be this.
Awesome. And Austin has another great question for a family member of his. This is a beard one. He said, I saw on the internet that a beard could increase your chances of catching COVID-19. And I feel like everybody has a family member that has seen that, has sent it to beard people. Austin, that's just not true. Your beard actually acts as a filter as long as you wash your beard. The only time we can get in trouble is if you're going to the grocery store and you pick up something on your beard and you don't wash it. But I think a lot of people forget with this virus, the virus has to enter your body for you to catch the coronavirus, right? Just because you touch a surface where the virus is, or just because someone coughs near you that has it, doesn't mean that you yourself are going to contract the coronavirus. It needs to enter through your mouth, your nose, your eyes, some part of your body. If somebody sneezes on your beard, wash your beard and you're okay, So no, you actually have a better chance of not catching it than catching it with a beard, as long as you are properly keeping yourself clean.
I would say, just to add to that, the reason we're all sitting at home right now is because no one really knows. This is, it's like back in the Middle Ages with the plague. No one knew it was the rats that were in the food, in their feces, and because this thing got so far ahead of us, that's awesome. Why we're here is they're going to look back and they're going to say, this was a definite thing you shouldn't have done, but nobody knew that. And then they're going to say, this was no big deal. Yeah. We do know some things about viruses and that the number one, they like to live in people. So we know that. But as far as all that goes, I think it's just guessing right now.
Yeah. Except for the fact that time true tested for everything, a beard acts as a filter. With having a virus on your beard, that does not mean you catch the virus. That is a fact that there's nothing that's going to be able to absorb through your dead beard hairs that's going to make it a virus. So answering that specific question, we do know the answer, I would say. So that one is time true tested. So it's just people just want to spread fear. They feel better about themselves. You have a beard, you're going to catch it. And it's just not true for that one. Follow-up question from Whiskey and Hardtack. For the defense, do you get to depose eyewitnesses really quickly to get it on paper?
Okay. So what happens in, let me think about this question. So any witnesses that are involved in a case, in a criminal case, they're not the prosecutor's witnesses. They're not the defense witnesses. They're just people that are involved in the case. They're just witnesses. So when the prosecutor gives me all of the discovery on the case, and what discovery is all of the evidence that they have against my guy or whoever the defendant is. So when they give me all of the discovery, which is all the police reports, DVDs, cell phone dumps, and all of that kind of stuff, they have to give me all the contact information for anybody that's involved in the case too. Okay. So if there's ever a time where I want to pick up the phone and I want to interview somebody, I can absolutely do that, and I'm absolutely entitled to do that. Now, as far as getting it on paper, what usually happens is that the police will do the interviews at the scene. They'll talk to everybody, and then that'll go into the police report, into the discovery pack, and then that comes to me. So that's usually the first time that anybody is making any type of a statement. But I will have a chance to question the witnesses in court, and like I said, I can pick up the phone, I can call the witnesses, and talk to them as much as I possibly want. I mean, I think there was a murder case that I did not too long ago where I drove, I don't know, I think I went about 2 hours north of here just to meet a witness who was, going to be taking the stand. So absolutely, you can talk to him.
Okay. All right. And then this one, touch where you can, stay away. Obviously, as a lawyer, there's some things you can't talk about.
Yeah.
But I know that you've been in the newspaper several times, so I know there's some stuff that you can cover, maybe not say what happened or what, but my buddy Matt, who was on the stream, what was that, 2 days ago, Mayor?
Yeah,
2 days ago. He says, have you done any famous trials, Nick? Like famous, like in the person?
Famous people? No famous people that I can think about. I mean, I can tell you that I've represented a lot of prominent local people, a lot of prominent people throughout the entire state of Michigan. But as far as like an OJ type case or something like that. It's certainly nothing like OJ, because there's never been anything like OJ either before or since. But yeah, a lot of high profile cases. It's funny because as I said, I'm a criminal defense attorney, and that's all that I do. The majority of my cases are actually cases that involve life offenses. I mean, if somebody calls me for a drunk driving, usually there's a dead body next to the car. So it's usually major cases that I'm doing, which, it's fantastic, and I love it. So a lot of high profile stuff, but not high profile in, famous people or anything like that. And Dan, you mentioned, being in the newspaper. I've been on TV. I'm on TV probably once every 2 weeks, or at least once a month. And I was talking with my kids, and I got a kindergartner and I got a preschooler. I'll say, Daddy's on TV. You want to watch Dad on TV? They're like, no, I don't care, whatever. Tell Dad that I'm doing a YouTube live stream today. And they're like, oh, Dad, you made it.
Big deal.
And that's true. And the mayor has kind of brought that perspective for me, because to me, it's just normal and people know me on that, but he'll talk about like students talking about it and his kids talking about it. I think that's a super valuable asset for like you as a father, but me and the mayor as teachers. Our kids relate to YouTube, man. That's their world.
That's it. And it blows my mind, because my daughter wants to watch a show this morning that is on Netflix or on TV. She says, no, I want to watch it on YouTube. I mean, YouTube is it for the younger generation.
I feel like it's just that much within reach. Like it's only one step away from where they could, make it their own. And I think that's our next art form is video and editing and it's kids and everybody, a lot of people through, just feel like maybe they have a way to express themselves or share it through that. And so it's close for the kids, everybody.
And I was thinking about that yesterday, right? My numbers are good. There's really good beard numbers right now, but think about how many people coming up that are going to have a beard that are going to be tuning on, right? The biggest numbers are kid videos, are gamers, are stuff like that. As this next generation comes through, it's going to be even bigger and bigger. That's why I have been really, 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 really encouraging people to create, to get out there. I'm doing a stream tonight at 9:00 on BeardTube, the biggest BeardTube, and we are giving advice and answering questions about content creation. And we're going to put a challenge out there, and whoever wins, we're going to do another live stream. He's got 160,000 subscribers, and we're going to promote that person's channel. And I really mean it. I want to try and inspire people to go and create something, man. It's definitely the new medium. It really is.
Sorry, if I can respond to a couple of comments, Dan, and I don't mean to step on you guys.
No.
Somebody says that they still have arraignment court going on every day in Hamilton County, and that's coming from the Maine Review. I don't know where Hamilton County is, but you are absolutely right. Arraignment court and arraignments are still happening. And what that means essentially is that people are still getting arrested. The police are still out on the streets making arrests, and people have to go in front of the judge to have the charges read to them, have a bond set. So arraignments are still happening. It's just kind of especially where we're at, is just kind of a skeleton situation that's happening. So Maine Review, you're 100% right. And that's an important part of the court system. So that's something that actually still has to be happening. Have the court date, Maine Review, one more question from you. Have your court dates been pushed out? Yes, court dates have all been pushed out. I haven't set foot in a courtroom in 2 weeks. And the court's policies up here about what cases they're doing, what they're hearing, seems to be changing by the hour. So as far as court dates being pushed out, I don't know when I'll be back to court. I think we're going to do a lot of things over the phone and then go from there. And I do see a question from Austin. Austin, I'm going to get to you in 1 second, but there was a Kevin Brock that just made a comment on here about beating a case, and he says, just shut up. And one of the things that, and this is my public service announcement to everybody here, if you are ever questioned by the police, your line to the police is, I'm happy to speak with you, but I want my lawyer present, okay? Never, ever, ever make any comments to the police under any circumstances. Whenever the police are talking to you or asking you questions, we've been taught since we were just little that the police are there to help us out, that we need to be honest and truthful with the police. And that may be true, but when the police are asking you questions, they're there to make a case against you. Okay. And so again, this is important. Everybody go stand in front of the mirror and repeat after me. I'm happy to speak with you, but I want my lawyer present. All right. So again, guys, I'm sorry to step on you, but I saw that go by and that was something I really want to make sure that I mentioned.
And Nick has a great quick hitter video on that. And he, what I love about Nick with that is he pays complete respect to law enforcement and talks about how valuable they are. Nick has great relationships with sheriff deputies, everything. But that's just a fact. And Nick really breaks that down in a really unbiased, respectful way. So I really appreciate that. All right. You want to tackle Austin? So Austin, again, is a highly bright student. He's a great athlete as well. And he says he's interested in becoming a lawyer, but also a career in sports. If I was to succeed in sports once I retire, could I come back and go to school for law?
Yeah, you can go to law school whenever you want. Absolutely, whenever you want. If your athletic career takes you somewhere, by all means, pursue that. Do a good job. Okay. I'm sure that whatever sport it is that you're playing, you're going to go to college. Just make sure you do a good job in college. The only thing that law schools really care about is your grades in undergrad and then your LSAT score, the LSAT. Okay. And if you're, playing sports and all of that kind of stuff, that's certainly a feather in your cap. But whatever it is that you're doing, just do good in school, get good test scores, and you're going to be fine. You can go to law school whenever you want. So, Austin, if Dan is saying nice things about you, that speaks volumes. So, Austin, I wish you all the best.
Absolutely. And I'll kind of touch on this one real quickly here. Mr. Pizza Face says, I've seen videos of cops planting drugs on innocent people. Why do they do that? I would say every single profession, every group in the world, especially in America, has bad seeds. No matter if you're a lawyer, no matter if you're a cop, no matter if you're a teacher, no matter if you're a YouTuber, no matter if you're a judge, no matter if you are a social worker. There are bad people in all professions, no matter what. Do I think there's a high number? No, I don't. I think it's a very small number for everything. I like to see the best and have positive intentions. So I would say that it's not different for police officers as it is to church leaders, right? Look at the headlines, look at the history of pastors and religious leaders. There's bad apples there. So it's everywhere. Do police get attention for it because of our human nature and the way the media works and stuff? Yes, exactly. How there's bad surgeons, bad doctors, bad nurses, the people that are there to help you, no matter what it is, there's bad people. So we hate it as teachers. The mayor and I, we see terrible headlines all the time, and it hurts my soul because you're attached to being a teacher. You have that known for you, and then somebody does something bad, and they look to you, right? If you're a police officer, Sean Law in here, who's actually, his name is Sean Law, is short for his last name. He is a former pro baseball player and a former police officer, and he says, "Bingo, Dan." Right? When a bad officer does something, man, that hurts because you're a fellow officer. Same for a teacher. Same with an attorney.
I've got a line of questioning for Nick. Todd, it was interesting. It occurred to me with the arraignment process. If somebody can't make bond, with this stay-at-home order, how is this whole thing? What do you see? How do you see this shaking out? And are there less crimes being committed right now because people aren't out there? How does it imply if you're a defense attorney and your client is doing extra time because the process, the whole thing is at a standstill? Is that something you're going to see coming up?
I had an MLive reporter, the local newspaper, Flint Journal or whatever, talk to me the other day, asked me that exact same question. What's happening with these guys that are in jail? And I said, you want to on the record quote, because off the record, man, I got no idea. I've got no idea. It's a tough situation. What we're trying to do, what my office is trying to do right now is get everybody out, all of my guys out of jail right now that are currently in jail. But like I mentioned, a lot of the people that I represent are accused of incredibly serious charges, assault with intent to murder, et cetera, et cetera. And what is a judge supposed to do in that situation? Do they release that guy? Do they let these guys go because of the pandemic and what's probably spreading through the jail right now?
Right.
But then does the judge release that guy knowing that they're releasing somebody with, serious allegations, not saying that they're a dangerous person, but the allegations that they are a dangerous person? Do they let them just go back out on the street during this time? So That's a great question. And man, I don't know. I don't know. What I can say is I'm trying to get all of my guys out right now. I'm working really hard to do that. But I don't know what the right move to make is.
Great question, man. I never even considered that, but I had a similar thought. So the big term that's being thrown around, because everything right now is happening on the state and local level, and it's a lot of kind of like borderline suggestions from the federal level, is martial law, right? If the president throws out martial law, and as a history teacher, I feel I have a decent grasp of that, but I'm by no means an expert, and I feel like most people have absolutely no idea what that means and what the ability is, and looking back at history of times of war and emergencies, something like the writ of habeas corpus, right? The ability to throw someone in jail without a trial. Do you have any idea of what martial law could look like or would be like if the president invoked that?
Dan, I wouldn't want to comment on it because I can't speak with 100% authority on that as far as what goes into it. I'm gonna hope that everybody does the right thing. And as hard as this time is, just chill out, stay home, don't leave unless you absolutely have to, so that we don't even have to be in that conversation. It would be a shame if that had to happen. And again, the specifics of what martial law would be, I can't tell you right now. I don't know off the top of my head. But we'll just hope that it doesn't come to that.
I agree, right? We're charged with staying home and spending time with our family.
Chill out, drink coffee.
Yep. And then the main review said our sheriff has released nonviolent crimes. I think upwards of 400 people released. Great add-on, Michael.
Yeah. And Michael, that's the main review.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yep.
Michael, that's an excellent point, and that's exactly what's happening here. The sheriff's department, the jail, is trying to release as many people as they possibly can, but the majority of those people are for nonviolent crimes right now. I only referenced violent crimes because those are the things that come to the top of my head of guys that I have in there right now. So as far as nonviolent crimes, absolutely they need to get them out there. With the more serious ones, we'll see.
Yeah. And Kevin says there won't be martial law. Suspending the Constitution won't work. And I agree. I hope the only reason I asked that is because you guys have all probably heard it. Everyone has a text chain. Everyone has a family member that's been talking about that. So that's the only reason why I brought it up there. I agree. Austin has a follow-up. If I was to pursue a sports career and I came back to pursue law, would the popularity from my sports career negatively affect the career in a biased way? For an example, this kid's a 7th grader, by the way, right?
I like what he's asking there. Like, does it influence? Would he have to work harder being an athlete first, or would people give him more credit?
For example, Kim Kardashian is famously going for her law degree right now.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
I think she's different than what he's asking.
Yeah. No, Austin, the practice of law, and I'm 100% serious about this, the practice of law, and especially doing what I do as a criminal defense attorney, is the closest thing in a profession that you can get to play in sports. Okay. It is a competition every single day. You're trying to see what you can do to beat the other side. All right. And my favorite quote is from Rasheed Wallace: "Ball don't lie." All right. So if you can play in the courtroom, it doesn't matter what else you have going on. All right. You might be the greatest of whatever sport you are. As long as you can play ball in the courtroom, that's the only thing that matters.
Awesome. Mr. Pizza Face says, has there ever been a crime too heinous or obviously guilty that you couldn't represent someone?
That's a good question, and I actually have to answer that question for somebody from yesterday, so I'm going to do a video on my own thing for that, but that's a great question. If we're talking about a crime that is just, so bad, or somebody is so obviously guilty, the guilty part doesn't matter, because unfortunately the majority of the people that come to see me, they're accused of a crime for a reason. All right. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that they're a bad person. Everybody makes a mistake. But as far as something that has been too bad or, whatever, if I get a bad feeling about a case, Not that the crime is too bad or whatever it may be. If I get a bad feeling, like in my gut, like there's going to be a problem here and you don't know what the problem is. And that applies to everybody. All right. Where you're dealing with a situation, you say, I shouldn't do this. There's something on the back of your neck standing up saying, no, I shouldn't take this case. You shouldn't do it. No matter how much money somebody drops on your desk. All right. If you don't have a good feel about something, walk away from it. Don't do it because it's only going to lead to problems.
And I think that's a good lesson in life. There was a video idea that was brought to me recently. Like just to give you guys an idea, my buddy Scuba did a video and it's on a trimmer called the Manscaped trimmer, right? And you've heard the term Manscaped before, and it blew up, like went crazy. He was gaining over 1,000 subscribers a day because of this video. And in a week, it was at like 300,000 views. And he was like, dude, I'll send you mine. You can make a video on it. Well, if you know the name of that and what that trimmer is used for, it's not your beard. And I was like, that would be great for the channel, but it doesn't fit the teacher, the vibe of me. And I have a bad gut feeling about it. And I decided to walk away. You know?
And it's so hard to walk away from those things. It's so hard, but it's like, this just isn't right. I shouldn't do this. Dan, you're 1,000,000% correct. Just trust your gut, whatever it is.
Yeah, I got another a Nick question. I don't know. Do you want to do Dwayne's first, or you want to do? I'll just hit.
I haven't heard from you in a minute. What's up?
Okay, so what? Let's say you are representing me, and I've done something bad. Is it beneficial when I walk in to talk with you as a defense? Do I need to tell you I have done it? Do I not tell you I've done it? Should I? Do you know what I mean? Like, how open and honest should I be with my attorney?
Okay, great question there. There is a split. There's two thoughts on this. All right. Number one, in a perfect world, as your attorney, I want to know every single thing that happened. Okay. And that does a couple of things. Number one, it helps us build trust in each other. All right. Because, I want all of my clients to trust me. A flip side of that is I want to trust my clients. Okay. So in a perfect world, yes, I want everybody to be 100% honest with me. Okay. But there are times to where there is a case that I know is going to go to trial when somebody comes to see me. All right. And if somebody tells me, if I know, okay, what happened, if somebody says to me, Nick, I did X, Y, and Z, and I did it this way. And there comes a time where we go to trial and that person wants to testify. If they get up and testify and they say something that I know is not true, I actually have to stop asking them questions and actually kind of have to send up some red flags to the court saying this person, I have an ethical responsibility not to allow perjury or not to allow something that's not true. So it's a really tricky situation. Yeah. There are times where I say, tell me exactly what happened. There are times where I'll be talking to somebody and I'll dance around what happened, but I don't get into the, did you do it or not type thing. Really? Okay. So and I hope that makes sense.
Even with attorney-client privilege, you still have to go with that in court?
Yeah.
Because that's the relationship between you and your client, not that witness that's lying. That's where it comes up.
That's exactly right. Witness is a completely different thing than my client taking the stand and saying something that I know is not true.
Wow. Well done.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, me either.
Right.
Great question, man. See, this is why I keep this guy around. He thinks, man. He thinks.
He's throwing fastballs all morning.
Dwayne says, if a client has a poorly groomed beard, do you encourage him to clean it up and make a better presentation in court? Because we've all seen jail shows. We've all seen that. And it's a big thing, right? You'll ask the court, can my guy put on a dress shirt rather than the orange? So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. No matter what it is, whether we're talking about a beard, whether we're talking about your clothing or hair or whatever it is, I tell people put on your going to church clothes. All right, whenever you're going to court, okay? You want to look as presentable as you possibly can, because it's like absolutely anything else. The way that you present yourself is going to have an effect on whoever it is that you're speaking to. All right. I think, God, I was just a baby attorney. One of my, I think I was on the court appointed list for like a year, something like that, way back when. And I had a client show up to court with a shirt that said, suck this, with an arrow pointing down, standing in front of the judge. And it's like, dude, what are you doing? So, yeah, just, clean yourself up, and we'll go from there. And I've always got extra ties in my office for whoever needs it in court and all that stuff.
Wow. Great question, Dwayne.
Also a bad first day of school shirt.
Yeah, right.
And,
don't wear that to you guys' class. Don't wear it to court.
Yeah. Thank you, Adam, for coming in, man. And he says, essentially, I'll answer this one. He says, I got a question. Can I save it for a later date? And somebody else asked, what is he on Instagram? So I have it on the scrolling banner at the bottom. It's attorney Nicholas Robinson on YouTube and Instagram. And he is right now making his videos based off of your suggestions. So fire him a suggestion on Instagram and he'll probably answer you and make a video about it. That's kind of driving his content right now. And feel free to correct me if I'm off there.
No, that's correct. And I don't know anything about making content or creating it, but I'm not in court right now. So I figure I just might as well just throw things out to the world and see what sticks. So anybody that has any questions, let me know. All right. Even though I don't know you, we're all friends here. So whatever I can do to help you, that's what I'm here for.
Awesome. And one of Kevin says, Austin is smarter than I am. Dan, you must be a great teacher. His wits has nothing to do with me. I'd like to think I can bring out stuff from people, but no. Holly says, what advice would you give these folks that want to pursue a law degree? What should they expect in the first few years, school-wise, starting out, a practice?
Okay. Great question there again. You guys just fantastic. This is awesome. Advice for those folks who want to pursue a law degree. What should they expect the first few years? First few years of law school, and your first year is just going to be an absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. There have been books that have been written about the first year experience of law school. I don't think I have it up there, but if you want to read just a fantastic book about the first year of law school, I would say check out Scott Turow's 1L. It's called 1L, as in first year of law school. That will give you a complete breakdown of what it's like to go through that. So after your first year of law school, it gets fine. And what I would tell anybody that is going to law school or in the middle of law school, chill out. It's not that bad. All right. There have been plenty of people, a lot, that are not as smart as whoever it is that you are that are going through it. If they can do it, you can do it. You're going to be fine. First few years outside of law school, it depends on where you land. I did my first couple of years in a prosecutor's office out of law school, got my trial chops, then opened up my own practice and, went into criminal defense. So it's one of those things, just like anything else. It's all about what you make. Okay. If you got some hustle, if you got some talent, if you got a little bit of grit to you, you're gonna be fine.
Awesome. And Beard Laws, funny name. He has a YouTube channel. He's going to be on this stream, I believe, next with the mayor, maybe Saturday. We'll talk about it. Mayor, how you feeling from the hot jerky? You okay? I don't know. And Nick stopped in last night, but on Wednesdays, we eat really, really hot jerky. I had the worst experience of my life last Wednesday. Mayor, he only had a medium-sized bite, didn't finish the bag. How you doing? How was your night?
It was, but I learned my lesson from the week before. The week before I took it all down, ate everything I had. The last week I dabbled in the Carolina, what was it? Carolina Screamer or Carolina Killa. So I did get up this morning and my stomach kind of gurgled and was talking to me in a way it doesn't typically do so. I think it was saying thank you, Mayor, thank you for your better decisions this week. We're not thrilled that there was anything you brought in, but if it's gonna be, that was a better way to do it. So.
And then Nick, Mr. Beard Laws actually has like his own constitution of beard laws. You'll have to check him out. Like his favorite law is you touch my beard without asking, I touch your butt without asking.
There you go.
Wait, what?
So Beard Laws is
I'm reading, I'm listening. I'm sorry, guys.
He has a YouTube channel and he asks what your favorite beard law is. I'll have to send them to you, but to give you an example, he's made his own laws about beards, and his favorite one is you touch my beard without asking, I'll touch your butt without asking. Okay.
Beard laws. I'm going to be checking that out. I'm actually embarrassed that I'm not familiar. I will make my. If Dan ever has me back on here, I'll be able to speak with absolute authority on beard laws.
Right. This might have to be a regular thing.
We're gonna need you to just look into do the beard laws trump the Constitution, or how does that?
Really, yeah. Clearly, the answer is yes to that.
Yeah. And Corey Smith, and I'm going to turn this into a question here. He says, attorney buddies are great to have, always great to bounce ideas off of and gain knowledge. So let me twist this to you. If you buy a truck, you are now the friend with a truck, right? Anytime somebody moves, you get called. Anytime somebody has a new trampoline, you get called, right? When you buy a truck, you are opening yourself up to that thing. Now, you're a lawyer.
Yeah.
You are the truck of the lawyer world.
Of humanity.
Of humanity, with friends, with family, with everybody. I mean, you would hope that a lot of people would not abuse that, but let's be honest, we know that a lot of people probably do. So question to you, unfiltered, not politically correct here. What are your thoughts on being the lawyer buddy that everybody goes to?
I've got no problem with that. I've got no problem. Because, like you guys, I mean, my job is ultimately just to help people, and that's it. All right. And if you don't want to help people, you're doing the wrong thing. So as far as questions, yeah, I have no problem answering questions, whatever anybody needs. But my area of law is, it's a very narrow field, what it is that I do. So a lot of people come up to me and say, hey, Nick, my friend did this. My friend was wondering. It's like, get out of here. What'd you do? Come on, tell me what you did. But I mean, then I'll get a lot of questions, about family law, divorces, all of that kind of stuff. And I'll just say, look, I don't know anything about that. I don't want to know anything about that. And try to help them out as best I can, either tell them what little I do know, but say this is not legal advice, or saying, look, if you're serious about this, I got somebody that can help you. Because if I can't help you out, I've got 5 people right behind me that will, do a great job.
Yeah, well said. And I'm kind of the same way. I know people know that I respond to every message, every email. And as I get bigger, they become more numerous. And whether it's for people asking beard questions, but I get a ton of people asking me about content creation. That's why I made that stream video the other day with advice. I don't mind at all. Everyone always prefaces the email with, I'm so sorry, man. I know you get flooded and stuff. For me, it's almost like an honor that people would want to come to me and ask those questions.
Flattering. That thinks enough of you to say, hey, what's up?
Yeah. And so I when people always like apologize and stuff, I'm like, no, like, thank you. Like that for me is a really cool spot to be in. So I appreciate that. And I know you're kind of the same way. So that's cool. And this is actually going to lead into another beard story that you had here. Somebody asked, where did it go? Mr. Down asked, touching hair does not equal the right to sexually harass. You have a beard story on, if I remember correctly, on assault, right?
Yeah, I had a client. I had a client a while back that she actually cut off her husband's beard while he was sleeping. Cut off her beard while he was sleeping. So, I'm thinking, all right, so of course we're dealing with a assault, a domestic violence. We're dealing with a felonious assault. And what a felonious assault is compared to just a regular assault is that you're using a weapon to assault somebody. So the prosecutor said, well, she used beard clippers and scissors to hack his beard off. So she used a weapon to assault him. So then my thought is, all right, well, what's the defense here?
Death penalty.
Who knows? You start figuring out. All right, Sean Law. All right. So you start figuring out what to do. And my position is, well, look, she didn't even touch the guy. She didn't even touch his body. It can't be assault. She didn't touch him. But as we all know, that any part of your body that is closely connected to you that somebody touches without your permission, that's assault. All right. So if somebody was to come up to you and yank on your beard, that's the same as them punching you or whatever it may be. So just crazy things like that. Like I said, a lady just trying to get back at husband and just, so she gets charged with, some pretty serious things for hacking a beard off. And I can tell from this community, and it's funny because this was back when I didn't have a beard. I didn't know you, Dan. The idea of having your beard cut off in the middle of the night, that'd be some emotional stuff. Oh, right. That's hard to deal with.
And this is not exaggeration. This is not entertainment. I would rather have you take my left pinky than my beard.
100%. And that's something I didn't realize at the time, and I wasn't as sensitive to it as I should have.
Well, you got because Dan would have a civil case, wouldn't he? Because that's revenue, money.
All day.
Yeah, that's a wild one. That is a wild one. I covered a history of a guy that lived in a town that was kind of persecuted for his beard, and he came out of a bar and 4 guys jumped him to try and shave his beard off. Well, he busted out a pocket knife and fended these guys off, and then he got charged with assault because of that. Yeah, that would be if someone tried to cut off my beard. Would I be able to have self-defense in that situation?
100%. 100%. You can always use self-defense when you are being attacked. You're allowed to use the equal amount of forces you're being faced with. All right. So if somebody is coming at you and they're they're fighting you with their fists, you're allowed to use your fist to fight back and claim self-defense. Can you pull out a knife when somebody is attacking you and claim self-defense? Sure, but it's going to be a little trickier. So basically, if somebody's using fists to fight you, you get fists. If somebody pulls out a knife, you can use a knife. You can't pull out a gun and shoot somebody for drawing fists on you and claim self-defense. You can, but it's a harder case to make.
Okay, good questions there. Mayor, you got another fastball?
In my opinion, I Bearded G's. I'm going to start everything out with, in my opinion now. In my opinion, he was right, but my face was not an overreaction to somebody coming in. There had to be a lot to that story of what did he do?
There's always more to the story
to get that beard cut off, because he was going after something that was a point of pride. So
there's always more. Look, no matter what it is, there's always more to the story.
Yeah,
always.
I cannot even. I cannot even imagine. Yeah, there would be a hefty lawsuit because I set my number. People ask me all the time, how much would it take you to shave your beard off? If it was ever to shave it and have it permanent.
Hold on. Can we guess? I haven't heard this before.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You want to guess?
All right. You don't have any giveaways or anything like that you can do for people hitting the right number, can you, Dan?
No, I got nothing. Okay. They've all heard it.
Everybody's heard it. Okay.
Yeah, let's see. So here, let me give the first part. If it was to shave off and never grow back again, it's 0. Literally, I would not accept it for anything. Even if you were like $10 million, truly would say no. But if I could shave it and then start regrowing the next day, what do you think my number's at?
Shave it and start regrowing the next day. I'm gonna go conservative and say 1.75 mil.
Wow. Oh, see, no, I'm much. I would definitely take that. I put it at 150K.
Oh, you're. Come on, man.
All right, I got to talk to my lawyer. I forgot.
150K.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dan could spin the journey back, the road back.
Oh,
a whole nother channel, right?
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there, but I've seen him moving like that.
Yeah. There's plus and minus to that, right? My beard gives me instant respect when I make a video and stuff. But yeah, I'm at 150K. I think that's life changing, and I could still have the journey back. But there would be a hit. There would be some backlash to shaving the beard.
Okay,
but
all right,
$1 million, you're not gonna look. That works too, right, Dan?
What's that, Mayor?
Somebody throws $1.5 million at you. You're gonna.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not gonna turn that down.
It's good. Just good math.
Yeah, I'm not going to turn that down. Gillette was trying to get celebrities a few years ago. They were dropping $1 million offers to get celebrities to shave their beard with Gillette razors. Yep. Like Brian Wilson, the former closer for the San Francisco baseball team.
Sick beard.
Great.
Just a solid beard all around.
I think it was yeah, Hall of Fame. I think it was dyed though. He had like super pale skin and it was like jet black, but it was still a good one. You could probably get that much in a GoFundMe. No, I don't want. This is not something I want. But if it was offered, it'd be hard for me to turn down.
In Dan's opinion, it was dyed.
Yeah, to my understanding, in my experiences, it seemed like it was dyed
by Menon.
So yeah, important topic. We got to get Nick on a beard care regimen and stat. We got to get him going on this so he can experience your love of the beard, your liking of the beard will grow even more once it feels better, once it starts to smell good. For me, it's like therapy, right? You have 2 kids and a wife. I got 3 kids and a wife. When I'm in the bathroom getting ready, that's my meditation. That's my quiet time with some great smelling scents and stuff. It's a good routine to get into.
I agree. And here's the interesting thing. I didn't realize how important that actually was.
Yeah, it'll be like an kind of
Mhm.
moment.
Mhm.
One of the things I learned fast was I didn't realize like the oils and the scents are mostly for you. 90% of it is because it's by your face, and so it's going to be things that you like to smell. Different than a cologne, where cologne is for everybody. That anything right underneath your nose is going to be you're dealing with it all day. So
Yeah, right.
So it's more a personal choice than anything. People, your wife might smell it when you're putting it on, or right away when you walk in the room that first. But most of the time, it's all your pick, which is a little different, kind of cool.
Yeah, and Brian Carter said ZZ Top guys said they were too ugly to shave, and I've also heard the beard is makeup for men. And so that kind of fits there. Now, how is you said your wife has always encouraged you to grow it out longer and grow a beard. Now that it's here, now that pony's in the stable, what are her thoughts on it? Because often women love the look of it, but they might not like the feel of the mustache when they kiss or stuff like that. Where's it been?
I haven't heard any complaints. I haven't heard, she'll talk about grooming a little bit, make sure just kind of keep it all in line, one of those things. But I mean, as far as, she would be furious if I shaved it off. I shaved it about 6 weeks ago and, went down to nothing. And, she's not happy. So I want to, make sure that, wife stays happy. So we're going to keep it where it needs to be.
Awesome. And Nick's wife's awesome. She's friends with my wife, and she does bar fitness instruction, and my wife has taken some of her classes. So really cool. And Buffalo Todd, my buddy, says, what type of law does Nick specialize in?
Buffalo Todd, great question. Appreciate that. I'm a criminal defense attorney. Criminal defense is all that I do. And I said this a little earlier, but I don't mean to repeat myself. I'm not a guy that dabbles in wills or divorces. I stick to what I know. I stick to what I'm good at. So strictly criminal defense, everything from little traffic tickets all the way up to first-degree murder and everything in between.
Okay, and kind of question to bounce that off of is what are the what are the pros and cons when you look at joining a big, well-established firm as compared to you when you were relatively young in the law game of opening up your own firm where you have a secretary yourself, right? And that's it.
Yeah, that's it. First of all, it's pretty terrifying, actually. Pretty terrifying, especially when you're first starting off. You don't know where your money's going to come from. Maybe the phone rings, maybe the phone doesn't ring. All right, there's nothing that's guaranteed with it. But it's one of those things that if you have a lot of confidence in yourself and you know that you can do the job, like I said earlier, ball don't lie. All right, so if you can play in court, you can do your thing, you're going to be just fine. The upsides versus the downsides of joining a big firm. I mean, look, I'm my own boss. I can do whatever it is that I want to do. I don't have somebody saying you have to do this file, you have to be at your desk by this time, you need to stay here until 9 o'clock at night. You can come and go as you please. You can, do whatever type of work you want to do, and it's just the freedom that goes along with it.
Okay, and take this wherever you want to go with it here. But my buddy Matt says, "Hey Nick, I don't know if this was asked, but what is your win case rate if you're able to answer? I don't know anything how that works, especially for a defense attorney." So.
Yeah, Matt, that's a great question. That's an interesting question. And it's not something where you hear on TV to where somebody will say, I've won 119 cases and I've lost 0. Okay. So example, tried a murder case, let's see, about 16 months ago. Okay. Guy's charged with first-degree murder. And that's a life offense. The jury finds him guilty of first-degree murder. He goes away for life, and that's it. So that was a case that was tough. I didn't think there was any defense. And off we go to trial and got the jury to come back with a verdict of manslaughter, okay? Which that is a great win for us because my guy's going to do a max of 15 years rather than the rest of his life. But do you call that a win or do you call that a loss because he's found guilty of something? Okay. So it's not really a black and white thing, but what I can tell you, Matt, is that I'm happy to tell you that I've been successful in cases far more often than what I've lost.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
And I don't mean to go so long with the answers because that's kind of a tough one. So again, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And my sister, as you know, is a lawyer, and she kind of went down a strange path too. She started out as defending death row inmates. And then she went to one of the largest firms in the world in downtown New York City. And she really did not enjoy the big law firm life, the big law firm style. So she took less money and went to a smaller firm, more on the political side in Washington, D.C. So there, that's kind of going with yours with the risk versus reward and stuff. The big, high-paid, fancy one that you see in all the movies and stuff, it wasn't all that made her happy.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And, it's interesting. You mentioned the political connections and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, and as far as the political connections, you can make that, you can, if you're good at what you do, people will come and find you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say probably in the last 6 weeks, I've sat down with the, somebody from the Senate, from the state of Michigan, somebody from the House of Representatives, a couple of other people. So, if you're good, people will find you no matter where you're at.
Facts.
I got a quick weird question to interject. Is that okay?
Yeah. Hit it.
I was thinking for Nick, you've got kind of like the face beard going. What are you using when you do like trim your cheeks or things like that? Are you still doing shaving cream or what are you doing for that?
Yeah, shaving cream when I'm taking the razor up here. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, shaving.
Pro tip: beard oil is better because you can see through. I use a disposable razor. I throw it out each time. You can, but like a good beard oil gives you the same kind of lubrication. You're not gonna get any razor burn, but you can see what you're doing. Because when I started, I like slipped on my chin line until it was way lower. Just out of,
oh yeah.
So if you ever think about giving that a shot, it gives you a lot more visibility. You can see what you're doing and be done with it. And it's that shaving cream just gives you it's too much off, and you can mess up.
No, you're right. And my wife, and I don't know what she uses, but she uses kind of a clear shaving cream or whatever. And she said, use this. You're saying that you can see what you're doing. And my first thought, like anything else, is no, I'm fine. I'm good. But she hands me this, and it's like, wow, it's nice. To see
True. What's the statute of limitation for embezzlement from a bank?
Don't know off the top of my head. It depends on what state you're in. It depends on a couple of different things. So Buffalo Todd, I'd say send me a message on Instagram, Attorney Nicholas Robinson, and we'll talk about it, and we'll go from there.
Cool. My buddy Max, Mr. Pizza Face, says, how does a lawyer become a judge? That was not asked yet.
Okay, great question. It depends on a couple of different things. First of all, if we're talking about a federal judge, if you want to be a federal judge, the president will appoint you to the bench. If you are a federal judge, most of the time the president will appoint you to the bench. If we're talking about a regular state judge, at the local courthouse, you have to be a lawyer for 5 years. That's really the only thing that you need the only requirement. And then you either run in an election or you can be appointed by the governor. So it's either an election or you're appointed by the governor, and you have to be practicing law for 5 years.
Okay, good. Pete, so obviously for whatever reason, human nature is just captivated by crime stories and trial. We all do. We love it. And one of the craziest ones was the new series of the Aaron Hernandez trial. And he says, what did you think of Aaron Hernandez trial and the video evidence against him and proximity of him as a defense attorney? What was going through your mind?
Okay, everything with the Aaron Hernandez trial, it sounded tough. Everything about it, specific comments on it. I'm going to kind of reserve those for right now, and I apologize for that. As far as the show goes, I watched the first episode of the show and the new Netflix thing, and then I had to stop. A lot of times, like the Making a Murderer thing, I couldn't watch that. It just felt like I was, at work watching it, and it's not something that I feel good about doing at home. So a lot of those shows I usually tend to not watch, other than Tiger King, of course.
I would say that was okay.
No, I mean, God,
that was a circus. That was a circus.
So
that wasn't
just amazing. Just amazing. I mean, your coworker's arm gets bit off, and the first thing you do is put on a paramedic jacket. Are you kidding me? I mean,
yeah.
Did you see that?
I'm not going to financially recover from this.
That's right. So, appreciate the question, though, Pete.
Let's say we get a call from Exotic Joe right now. Huge case. He's trying to get out. He's trying to win his appeal, and he says, "Nick, I heard you're the best defense attorney. I want it. I want you." What's your thought process on that? Exotic Joe right now calls you.
Exotic Joe right now calls me. I say, Joe, listen, I appreciate the phone call. I'm flattered that you're calling me, but I'm going to say, Joe, unfortunately, I do criminal defense and I represent people at the very beginning of their case. I don't do things on the back end. I don't do appeals or anything like that. So if Joe was to have called me day one when he's being investigated, then absolutely I'm going to take that phone call. I'd be happy to represent him. But as far as the appeals process, I would refer him to somebody else. That's just not something I do.
Good answer. Not what I expected, but that's one of those gut feeling things, kind of.
Yeah, I don't do it, and I'm not going to take a case unless I know that I'm going to be able to do an excellent job. And I just don't do appeals, so that's not something I would do, even if that guy calls. I mean, I'd love to take that guy's phone call, but I just don't do that area of law. And if I'm not going to do a great job, I'm not going to take the case.
Yeah.
So it's like teaching a math teacher trying to step into language arts.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
Well said. There are probably some similarities, but the expertise is not there.
That's right.
Yep. Austin's back again. Miss you, buddy, man. One of my students, he's in my first hour. So questions like this are what I miss, right? I really do miss a lot of aspects of teaching, but he says, does the amount of years you need to go to college vary on the law you specialize in?
No. You're going to do your 4 years of undergrad before you go to law school, and then law school is going to be 3 years. And it doesn't matter what type of law you're going to specialize in. You're going to get your law degree in 3 years, pass the bar exam, and then off you go.
Okay. And yes, Mr. Chavez says, are you excited for the Jordan 30 for 30? It's a series that's coming out. I actually sent it to Beard Talk with Matt. I am so pumped. I love very few things more than a good sports documentary, and I love passionate people. I'm a coach, I'm an athlete, but I have like the heart of a killer. Like when I do YouTube, man, I don't care if I sleep tonight. I don't care. I'm going to do whatever I can to put my foot on the throat of this algorithm and capitalize. And Jordan's that way. Oh my gosh. I get like goosebumps thinking about this documentary coming out. Like I am so ready. So ready.
There's nothing better. There's nothing better than watching somebody at the height of their profession. Whatever it is. If you're watching just truly straight up greatness, or somebody that is trying to get to that level, fantastic.
And making those when they make those tough calls and how they work out, whether they do or they don't, just that whole doing the hard thing. That's where your differences happen.
Yeah, in the trailer, there's a 1-minute trailer for it, and he said, "My mindset was to win at all cost. I didn't care," and I believe him. Like he would do whatever it took, and I love that, man. We all have a family. For me, like. Some people are super chill and stuff, and I have my chill side, but I love that winning by all means necessary. And my buddy David said, Dan, I can't help but notice how like-minded all three of you are, different fields, same passion behind the way you guys talk about it. Amazing. Cool. Appreciate that.
It's a nice thing for you to say. Appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's true. And I think the passion can be a common denominator, just like you were saying. You like to study people that are successful no matter what it is. Yeah, passion's contagious, and I think it's so valuable to find a job or career or whatever you're doing that you like. That makes such a big difference, man. Finding that job that you enjoy and you can be passionate about, whether it's teaching, whether it's content creating, whether it's being an attorney, that makes a big difference in life. And Chris says, Dan C., what do you teach? I teach middle school history, 7th grade ancient world history, 8th grade U.S. history. The mayor's also a teacher. Mayor, what do you teach?
8th grade science. I've also done 7th grade, but always science.
Cool.
Also certified language arts, but not hating that I don't have to do check the papers. And something that was funny, it's very interesting that Nick he can't do some of the courtroom dramas, the datelines, the whatevers. For me, it's coming home and trying to help my kid with his math homework, because if I burned all day on breaking it down, going that extra mile, there's not always a lot left. So that's why being home and working with them has been nice, because I have that tank, that patience tank or whatever it is a little bit more full than it normally would be.
Yeah. No, I get that. I've been doing this all day. Now I got to come home and do this. Yeah, I get that.
Right.
I get that.
And Nick, kind of going with that, we know what you do, but did you always want to be a lawyer? Was there something in a path that took you there? Because I didn't always want to be a teacher. I actually failed my first semester of college, all 6 classes, when I went to be a radiation therapist, and started coaching and fell in love with teaching a sport. So I shifted to teaching a subject. But what was your path to law?
That's a great question. That's something I actually get a lot. And there's some people that like this answer, some people that don't like this answer, but this is the truth. I got a brother that's about a year younger than I am. And when we were just little guys, could barely see over the kitchen table, our dad took us aside. He said, Nick, you're going to go to school. You're going to be a lawyer. Brad, you're going to go to school. You're going to be a dentist. And that's just kind of how it happened, or at least how it started, put the idea in our head. And when I tell that story, there's a lot of people that will say, well, your dad's just, thinking for you or making the decisions. And I don't exactly agree with that, because, it was one of those things where, dad saw what we were both wired to do at a young age, and just kind of put the thought in the head, and then off we go from there.
Yeah, my dad tried to do the same thing, but not because of what I was wired for. My dad grew up with not a ton of money, started as a truck driver, and so he saw the value of having a career with money. So he told me and my sisters our whole life, this was his phrase, his motto. He even had it framed at our house, no joke: marry for money, love will come later.
Wow, you got 2 girls out of 3 too. I get that for sure.
Yeah, and then I have a stay-at-home wife, so that didn't work out for me that way. So I went against him on that. I went into teaching and have a stay-at-home wife. So that whole money thing didn't work, but it all worked out, of course.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Everybody ends up where they should, right?
Well, yeah. and I think you got to give Sam some credit. She could be hustling out there. She's got lots of skills, but she's doing that because you're setting up a table where she can.
For sure. She is a CPA accountant and had an accounting degree or has an accounting degree, had an accounting job. And then with this starting to roll, we were able to do that. But it's just funny how my dad's vision changed with everything. So it's a good one. Pete asked a great question. He said, Nick, do you have any questions for the mayor or myself about a beard routine?
You know what? That's a great question. And I'm glad you answered that, Pete, because these guys have been asking great questions all day. So my question for them is, what don't I know that I should know? All right,
okay.
I don't know, and I'm a rookie with all of this, so I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah, great question. People in the chat, throw something out there. Hit us with a one-liner. Mayor, I'll let you take it as far as you want to go here.
I'm going to go big picture on this. What you don't know is about yourself. We all have a vision, and I went 40 years clean shaven and who I thought I was. But what you don't know is maybe growing a beard can kind of give you more perspective, like just so much more perspective on who you are, what you're capable of, and how you might go in a little bit different direction than you had thought, and how many doors that new direction can open for you. So that's big picture. It's not like small things, but trying out stuff that you just don't see ever happening or working. You don't know yourself as well as you think you do sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. That makes sense.
Yeah, and kind of a mayor big picture. I mean, the more you grow out your beard, the more you get into it, the more we infuse you on this channel. You become you don't know what happens when it gets going. Rock what you got, Mr. Pizza Face. That's a big theme of this channel. A lot of people are self-conscious about patches or whatever it may be, or gray. Rock what you got. Oil in the morning, butter at night. Yes.
Looks like Dan live again. I think we officially are losing school for the rest of the year. I think that just happened.
I saw the press conference was at 10:30. Okay.
Wow.
So okay. It is done. Must be sick before starting. Okay. Interesting. Cool. And we'll probably get to wrapping this up pretty soon here, so these guys can get back to their family and normal lives as we would say there. So looks like Austin's in here. He'll probably hear the news, but Yeah, other great. You guys are killing it. Steve says every beard's different. Don't get discouraged. Even though it looks like Nick has a crazy base for a beard, I don't think he's going to have too much of an issue there with beard envy or anything. I think he's doing all right. You're lucky.
Steve's got a good point though. Everybody's going to have spots that just like your person. Just like a beard is like a metaphor for you as an individual. There's going to be areas you don't love, and there's going to be guys that you think like that guy's looking good. I love that guy's look. Why can't I be? But you pay more attention to that than they do. And if you make a big deal out of something like our buddy TMD does, and he got really fixated on his mustache and he just wiped the slate clean, start over. You got to shake it off and don't make any fast decisions.
Well said, and great point by that is a Steve to Steve connection there. Steve Ferrulo, Steve the mayor. So that was good. And then a couple good ones here. Austin asks you, Nick, on average, how long does it take you per case, especially on big cases like a murder case?
Ooh, let's see. If we're talking about a run-of-the-mill felony case, I would say that. Actually, hang on. Kara, you're fine blending down there.
TMD's here, though, by the way. He just caught that comment, so I see that.
My wife's trying to be considerate in the background by...
Oh, no. Tear it up.
Yeah, Kara, go for it, man. How long do cases take? I'd say 12 to 18 months for 8 to 12 months for a run-of-the-mill felony type case. When we start talking about murders, I would say anywhere between 18 months to about 2 years from start to finish on them.
Wow. Cool. So Chris asked Dan, and then he follows up with the mayor on a separate one. So I'll go first and then kick it to the mayor. Would you ever shave for a job? No. Nick has covered this in a video he made about grades. And he said, if a law firm is asking you only about your grades, that's not a place you want to work, right? If you can play ball, that's all that matters. For me, and I mean this, people say you got to do what you got to do for your family. You got to all this stuff. I would never work at a place where I could not be myself. And this is myself. And I have that confidence mindset that if it's not working there, I will go find somewhere where it works. I don't care what it is. I will make it happen. So truly 100% no, I would never shave for a job. If they said for teaching, hey, you got to shave your beard, I would make them fire me before I left because I love teaching, but I'm not going to touch my beard. Mayor, what about you?
Same as Dan. And I just the thing about them wanting, if this is who I am right now, them start right out the gate, they're going to ask me to change something, which is fairly big. It's your face. I think that is an indicator of kind of the way it's run. And if they're not able to see through that to who you are, the way you are good at your job, there's going to be problems down the road beyond that, if nothing else.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Kevin Brock says, never work for someone who cares more about your appearance within reason rather than your skill level at doing that job. That was
true.
That's a delicious little bite right there. Well said, my friend. I believe the answer is probably no to this, and this is not just specifically for Nick, but this is a good, probably cautionary answer or tale. Nick, our question sent by Instagram confidential.
Okay. If somebody is going to ask me, a serious question, if they want to actually have something that would be like consider a consultation between me and whoever it is that sent the message, I would say absolutely do not put anything in writing, not only to me, but to anybody else. All right. If there's something that you want to talk about, a case that you're worried about, or you have something coming up, let me know and we'll talk about it by phone. And it's not that I worry about, your confidentiality as far as me and you are concerned. I don't want your phone to get scooped up by somebody and they see that you're saying this to whoever it is that you're saying to. So if we're talking about something that is serious, and of course everything is, don't put anything in writing. I don't let anybody text me or anything like that, as far as my clients go. But if you have general questions, I can answer those the best I can. But anything that might be confidential that you're worried about, phone call. Okay.
Yeah, just hit him up, ask him for his contact information, right? Yeah. If it's a specific thing.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Right. And again, last kind of couple of questions here. Isn't it crazy though how fast time goes on a live stream that we're at an hour and 45 minutes?
Yeah. No, I feel bad. My family's been trying to be quiet downstairs right now. They've been wonderful, but I've told them that They can be as loud as they need to be down there.
Oh yeah, tear it up. It's a family show here. So
Yep, exactly. I see a question there from Austin. Austin, what persuades you to pick the cases you do? First of all, if it's a criminal case and people have enough money, I will usually do it. If it's not a criminal case, I'm going to refer that out to somebody that does that area of law. So is it a criminal case? Can they hire me? And then off we go.
Cool.
How do you establish that? Can you hire me? Do you need them do you vet them kind of financially a little bit before you bring them on? Because I'm good for it. It doesn't probably fly.
No, that's a great question. And there are a lot of attorneys that will say, I'm going to charge a consultation fee. Like a lot of attorneys will charge somebody $100 just come in and have a talk with them, which I think is crazy. I will meet with anybody that wants to meet with me, and then I'll quote a price of what the case may be, and then we'll talk. And usually the numbers that I'm quoting are, unfortunately, they're going to be big numbers. A lot of people don't have that just laying under the couch cushion. So we'll work out, I need X amount down, and then we'll do X amount per month, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, great one. And Mr. Pizza Face, he is his own firm. He has his so what would that be called? A solo practice, or what's the term?
Yeah, solo practice. It's my own law firm. It's me and a secretary. I was actually just about to hire my first associate until the world threw up all over.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, it's I'm a solo criminal defense attorney, and that's what I do.
Awesome. Well, I think it's probably time to wrap it up. I hear my family going crazy upstairs. I know Nick's fighting it off, and Mayor's gonna have to rip the joysticks out of the hands probably. And
it's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be ugly. You know what?
So, Mayor, any final things for the stream or for Nick?
I love this. I hope you consider doing it again with us, because there's so many natural things through the conversation, the dialogue that just pop up that I love. And I'm sure that people watching as well. I think that people are going to come back. This is going to be a viewable show from the live stream standpoint, but also people just getting information. It was amazing. And I just really appreciate, Nick, you being here with us.
Guys, this is awesome. I had look, I expected to have a good time, but it exceeded any of the expectations that I had. I will come back anytime that you guys want to do this. Let me know. I'm happy to do it. This was awesome. Outside of the mayor learning what your real name is, that kind of bummed me out. Outside of that,
it is
all around.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much. I knew that this would, I've had these talks with you, so I knew how captivating this could be and how interesting people are interested in law. And man, brother, all I gotta say is you are made for this. Go, especially take this time, go into your channel. You guys, I put his channel link in this description, so come back, subscribe to his channel, hit him up on Instagram, Attorney Nicholas Robinson. And I really mean it. You're amazing at your job as a lawyer and stuff. But this could be something that could be big for you. You are made from this.
You know what? We'll see. We'll see. I'm having a lot of fun. As far as my YouTube page goes, I just started it yesterday. Don't judge me on that. Check me out on Instagram. Any questions that you guys have, send me a message anytime. And fellas, this has been great. Anybody that's sending questions, thanks so much. And anybody that's watching, I mean, that's flattering. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, Mayor, thank you for taking the time out to your family and your day, man. Always appreciated. Guys, I will be live tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on BeardTube with Scuba, all about content creation.